Just 1 second. Welcome, everyone. This is Rosalind Sedacca, and you're listening to the Going Solo Network, and we're on Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedacca. And as you know, we talk every week about issues revolving around divorce, dating after divorce, co-parenting expertise, helping your children and supporting them through and beyond the process, and helping you make the best decisions about yourself and your children long after divorce. And today I'm very excited to have a wonderful guest with us. His name is Alex Pelli, and he is the founder of the Co-Parenting Hub, a new app that's created to reduce conflict between co-parents. The Co-Parent Hub sends you all your child-related calls, texts, and emails to both parents at the same time, so everyone stays on the same page. This is very new, and I'm very excited about this app because I think Alex has come up with a way of resolving and solving a lot of issues that we all know come up for co-parents during and long after the divorce. And I think this is something that you could all get onto and into and use, because it's going to help in so many ways. So welcome, Alex.
Hi, Rosalind. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here today.
I'm very glad to have met you and to find out more about what you're doing. I was impressed when I went to your website. And I wanted to start by asking you, you say that the Co-Parent Hub reduces conflict between co-parents. So briefly give us an idea of how you do that.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. So really the idea is to completely sidestep and avoid the common triggers for conflict, which, I mean, let's face it, it's money, parenting time, and communication. And it's the root of everything. So Co-Parent Hub gives you easy tools for tracking shared expenses, for tracking your parenting time swaps, and for uploading shared files. Makes all that really easy. But most importantly, we assign you a shared phone number and an email. And that's really where the magic happens. You take that information, you put it on file with the doctor's office, dentist, sports teams, all the places your kids go. And then when they need to reach out to you because there's something going on with one of your kids, you both get that text or you both get that call at the same time. So then no one's left in the dark, not knowing that a conversation happened. No one has to inform the other parent, say, hey, this happened, just want to make you aware. And, you're all on the same page in real time.
It's amazing that with all of the various options that are available out there and a lot of online scheduling tools and things that have been available for over a decade now, I haven't found anything that does quite that simultaneously, so that both parents always feel that neither one is being preferred or getting favored in any communication. And that makes a big difference in calming fears and reducing conflict, as you say. So I'm impressed with what you've come up with. So why don't we dive into how does it work? For example, if a school calls and says, hey, Susie is sick today and you need to pick her up, how do both parents get that information?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually get that a lot. So basically, it's actually very simple. When the call gets made, the school says, hey, Susie's sick, come get your kid. We receive that call automatically and then forward it to both parents at the same time. So, I mean, we just said instantaneous forward, both phones start ringing. Whoever picks up first sort of wins, I guess, and has the conversation. And as soon as that conversation's over, we email out the recording to both parents. So whoever did not have that conversation can then listen in and hear exactly what was said and how it was said. So there's nothing lost in translation here. There's not, a loss of communication from just having to play the telephone game and relay that information along. And we treat text messages and emails the same way. When those come in, they get automatically forwarded off to both parents at the same time. So you both have the same information to work from.
So are you saying that we're not using either parent's phone numbers or email addresses or things like that? This is something different that they're getting to use?
Right. So when you sign up for a co-parent hub, we'll assign you a shared phone number, we call it a co-phone, and a shared email address, we call it co-email. And that way, instead of putting your cell phone and your co-parent's cell phone and different email addresses and everything on file and having, 4 pieces of information on file at these different places, the doctor and the school and everywhere, you just put the co-phone and the co-email there, and then there's really no opportunity for error. Whenever the school needs you, they're going to look up your information and say, well, I see what's on file. They'll use it, and they can't possibly get the wrong parent because they're going to get both of you.
And the fact that both parents are literally hearing that message, the nuances, the tones, the various factors that come along, especially with voice messages, it's more comforting because you both feel that you're on the same page in the same time, and you can't point fingers with feeling you're concerned because one parent is closer to this particular sports coach or another parent is more involved with the PTA, and there may be nuances of who has more of an in or out in anything. It kind of levels the playing field, so to speak. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I've used it over the years, it's been really a game changer because I don't have to wonder if my kid's mom is telling me the full story, if she's forgotten something, if there's a little detail, or whatever, and not necessarily in a malicious way, just it's difficult to relay all the intent, all the intonation, and all the meaning that comes just from how something is said, never mind the actual words that are said. So it's just so much easier when I can see that a call's happened. Maybe I didn't pick up quickly enough, I was in a meeting or something. Immediately afterward, I can just listen to it and I really understand what was said and what's going on. And if I want to follow up, I can. And most of the time I don't need to. Once I have that information, it's usually all I need. So it's been very helpful.
So we have phone and text and email communications covered. What else does the app cover for co-parents?
Yeah, so I think the big thing is shared expenses. A lot of us deal with that. It's just got a simple tool in there to allow you to upload receipts and keep track of each expense that goes in. So if you're buying soccer cleats or football helmet or whatever it is, all these shared things that go in, you can add that in, and it just stacks up in a nice shared ledger. And at the end of the month, or whenever you guys have your agreement to settle these things out, you can just see the one amount that has to go one direction or the other. You don't have to go back and forth with each receipt separately, saying, well, I'll reimburse you for the boots, or I'll reimburse you for a jacket, or whatever. You just see it all there. You say, settle up, the money's over. It's so much easier. And you don't have to wonder if, the payment that was made last week, did that include this other expense? Did it not include it? Have arguments about it. It just takes care of all of that. It makes it much easier. And the parenting time swaps really kind of the same thing, where it just keeps things in balance. So it'll track how many hours or weekday nights or weekday days have been swapped back and forth. And instead of having to figure out both sides of the trade, right, in that moment, to say, I'll give you this day in exchange for that day, and then to find out that 2 days later, when you're expecting to do the trade up, somebody's sick and the plans change, and you got to redo it all over again. That was my constant nightmare for years. So this just keeps track of the balance, because really, I think each of us just doesn't want to give up our parenting time or get slighted. So once I figured that out, and I said, well, this is so much easier if you just keep a score sheet, right? And so I know that, well, I'm owed 3 days or 6 hours or whatever it is, then I know that I need to put it back in balance, and I'll ask for a trade to get those hours back or those days back, and we just put it back into balance again. So it just simplifies it from having to have both sets of both sides of that trade having to be negotiated all up front. It's much easier.
So you're saying it's adding a lot of flexibility to that equation.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much easier to say, hey, I'd really like to take the kids to a drive-in movie or whatever it is tonight. I know it's your night. Can we trade? And the answer doesn't have to be yes. Which day would you trade for? It's just yes. Because then when we put it in the app, it'll just track it. It'll send the time that I'm borrowing into her swap bank. And so she now stores that away and can, 2 weeks later or a month later or whenever say, hey, I'd like to spend this now. I'd like to do this trade in the other direction. Much, much easier.
I like that very much. Is that something that's available on other apps for online scheduling tools that you're aware of?
I've not seen it done that way. This was something that just kind of came to me one day, and I said, boy, if we treat it like a scale instead of like a negotiation, I think it'd be a lot easier. So no, I haven't seen it that way anywhere else.
I haven't either, and I thought that was very thoughtful. Obviously, you are speaking from experience. It sounds like you're a man who's been divorced and understands what co-parenting is all about from the inside out. So in just a moment, I'm going to ask you a little bit about how this all came to be. We're going to take a quick break. This is Rosalind Sedacca with WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and you're listening to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living, and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedacca on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and we are talking to Alex Pelli, who is the founder of Co-Parent Hub, which is an app that does some very innovative things that make life easier for co-parents, and that's why I'm so excited about it. I thought you'd be interested in learning about it as well. And I wanted to ask you how you came up with this idea, Alex.
Sure. So I became a single dad when my kids were about 3, and that's about 10 years ago now. It's been quite a while. Time flies. But, what I was finding that since they were young and we were going through school and all this, I got to see firsthand how all of these failure modes happen in all these different environments. So what I kept finding is that the school, the doctor's office, the dentist, all these different places, they never knew which parent to call on any given day because they don't know our parenting schedule and all that. And, why would they? So they just look in their file and either pick at random, or what I found, oftentimes they default to mom. So I was either inadvertently or whatever getting cut out of the mix and just left in the dark a lot of the time. But I have my kids 4 nights a week, so it's really important that I know about appointment reminders and, when my child's sick at school, things like that. I'm usually the one to go pick them up. So my schedule is more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the call goes to their mother and she's in a meeting, she could be in that meeting for a couple of hours. And it's going to be a while before that information is then received and then relayed to me. All the while, my daughter's sick in the nurse's office and could have been picked up. So that was a constant headache for us. And fortunately for us, through my work in digital marketing, I had access to programmable phone numbers that we were using for clients for advertising online. And so I just assigned one to myself as if I was my own customer. And we started using it exactly the way Co-Parent Hub works today. And it was just a game changer. You fast forward now, 10 years into the future, and I sort of look back and I went, wow, we really cut out all of those. So I call it the like death by 1,000 paper cuts. All that constant drip of constant negative interaction, even if it's not a fight, it's just always kind of contentious and negative, where you're arguing about money and arguing about swap times and whether or not you're remembering correctly or not. It's just, it just sort of kills the relationship a little tiny bit at a time when the relationship's already sort of tenuous to begin with just by nature. So luckily we cut all that out, and I was able to just luck into that situation. We didn't have to constantly sync up on messages that were left for one and not the other, or things like that, or appointment reminders, things of that nature. So without that negativity, the kids benefit the most, but all because our relationship wasn't soured. And then when we did need to cooperate on more important things or bigger items, it wasn't a big deal. We weren't starting from a position of hostility. It was more collaborative. So now I'm just hoping that now that I've polished it up and formalized the offering, it's something that other people can now partake in and have the same success as I've had.
Well, that's wonderful. I loved hearing you talk about that, because that's what the Child-Centered Divorce Network is all about. We want to promote cooperation. We want to promote flexibility and understanding that the kids are negatively impacted when the parents are in conflict. So this seems to be a wonderful tool to help simplify matters in so many areas where there's can be confusion or upset, and I love that it's doing that in a very simple way. Can you give us an idea of how this is priced for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically for your audience, we have a special discount code. It's just Rosalind 143, all in caps. And when you go through the sign up process, when you put that in, it'll be just $1 a month for each of your first 3 months. And after that, it's only $9.99 a month. It's not cost prohibitive.
Yes, that's quite reasonable. And does that include the getting the original phone numbers, the unique phone numbers through the app?
Right, that includes everything. You know, there's no different levels of service or anything. You're in, you're done. You have access to whatever tools you need. If you don't need some of them, that's fine, but they're all there for you to play with.
Yeah, and I encourage people to really take advantage of all of the tools that are available, because the more you do, the more you have available for both parents to see and pay attention to what's going on in each other's lives. And it eliminates a lot of conversations, phone calls that can be more high level and lead to more conflict and be more confusing sometimes when we're talking on the phone or in emails and texts. So this gives you an opportunity to minimize communication if that's not your sweet spot. And if you can't communicate well, then you have a lot of clarity, so you're not getting bogged down in a lot of minutia and unnecessary details. They're all there right before your eyes, right?
Correct. Yep. It's all there. The whole concept is a shared ledger, so you're all working from the same information source.
Yeah, that's great. So where do people find this?
Yeah, it's super easy. coparenthub.com. You can get to the app, says get the app up at the top if you're ready to sign up. If not, there's a how it works tab, and there's lots of information in there. And if you can't find what you're looking for, use the contact button and reach out to me. I'll help you out however I can.
Well, that's great. I found your website to be very user-friendly. I like the short, succinct videos you had that describe each of the features. I think you did a very good job in making this very user-friendly and clear. But I'm curious about how the schools and the doctor's office and the coaches and whoever are going along with this. Is this being an intrusion for them in any way?
Yeah, that's a really astute question. So what I've noticed is that a lot of the other apps that are out there in different permutations, they all try to keep you on their platform so you can communicate from one user to the other as long as you're both using that same system. And the magic of this is that actually it doesn't do that. A lot of that's done for cost-cutting purposes, things like that. But this really allows the outside world to interface with you in a seamless way. So the schools and the doctor's offices and all these places, they actually don't even know they're using it. All they know is there's a phone number and an email, and they're going to call or they're going to text you or whatever it is, as if it's the direct number. They have no change in their behavior. So they don't have to install anything. They don't have to change what they're doing. It makes adoption super easy because it's just seamless to them. So they love it, because the feedback I've gotten from, secretaries and things at the schools who are on the front lines having to deal with it is, it's great. They don't have to worry about calling the wrong parent and getting yelled at that they made a mistake or what have you. Because I'm sure that happens a fair amount. They don't know. In this way, they don't have to know.
So that's the really interesting part of this, is that the phone number is a given. You may change the phone number that they have now once you get the app. But once they have that, that's what they're using. They don't know any different. They don't know both of you are getting it simultaneously, and it doesn't matter. They don't have to know that. The important thing is that the information is coming to both parents immediately, and it just eliminates a lot of, did you hear this? Did you understand that? And having conversations about something that's just obviously in front of you. So I imagine, especially for emergencies, it must be a real relief to have this within the family dynamic.
Yeah, for me, probably my favorite use case is when, not because I don't really love my kids being sick at school, but when those kind of situations happen, you don't have to worry about who's going to get the call or how long it's going to take before someone actually recognizes it. One of us is typically available at any given moment, and if not, shortly thereafter. So as long as one of us knows about it, we can start acting on our side to correct the problem. So I just found that to be a huge peace of mind for me. I hate the idea of my daughter sitting in the nurse's office, not feeling well, just wanting to go home. So it just sped that process up quite a bit.
I totally agree. And I know very often I've had clients who have had conflict around information coming in from someone and who got the message first and how it was received and understood and grasped. And one person may not know who this call was from because they were the second one and they got the call instead of the primary person. And I've seen clients have conflicts about that more often than I like to see. So I know this is a very real problem. And I'm very appreciative that you put your innate tech talents to use in this way. Again, if you weren't divorced, most likely this would not have been even in on your radar, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's necessity is the mother of invention, right? So had I not lived through the pain of not having the tools I needed, this never would have come to be. So I'm glad that I stumbled into it and now can share that discovery with everybody else.
So very clearly the way to go now is to check into coparenthub.com, check it out. And if you want to take advantage of Alex's offer for viewers and listeners of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, then you can do that. And you said it's just $1 a month for how long?
For the first 3 months. Yeah, it gives you plenty of time to get in there, check it out, see if it's working for you. And if not, no problem. And if it does, then great.
Great. So this is something new. So you'll be right in on the early stages of experiencing a new app that was created for people like you and me and people who are going through divorce and understand it on the deepest personal levels, especially the complexity of co-parenting. I want to thank you so much, Alex. It was a pleasure talking with you today. Do you have a last thought you want to leave us with?
No, I just so appreciative that you had me on, and I'm hoping that, together we can try to help some other folks not have to go through the pain we've already dealt with. So yeah, just a reminder, it's Rosalind 143 if you need that code again. And hopefully you guys will check it out and it'll be useful.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you were all joining us today on Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedacca. I hope you'll be here again with us next week and that you're listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. Thank you so much. And I hope you have the most positive experience going through and beyond your divorce, obviously. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.